Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. It is 10 o'clock, so we will start this meeting. Welcome to the November meeting of the General Purposes Committee. Welcome to the new members of our committee, Ms. Darcy. Welcome to you all in the room, and welcome to those of you who might happily be sitting at home in the warm watching this online. Julie, we are live streaming. Thank you. So I go to item 1, the minutes. To confirm the minutes of the meeting held on the 11th of September on pages 4 to 7 of the agenda pack. Can I ask those members of the committee that were present at that meeting, are you happy with those minutes? Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? Thank you, Julie. We move on to item 2, actions arising from the minutes. I don't think there are any that aren't on the agenda. Item 3, apologies. Any apologies, please, Julie?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman. We have one apology from Councillor Morton, and we have Councillor Kiddle-Morris in attendance as his substitute.
Thank you, Mark, for coming. Item 4, declaration of interest. Members of the committee have a duty to register, disclose and not to participate for the entire consideration of the matter in respect of any matter that may have a disclosable pecuniary interest as set out in the Localism Act. If you have nothing to declare now but you think of something later on, please indicate. Item 5, urgent business. I have not been notified of any urgent business. Item 6, non-members wishing to address the meeting. Welcome all of you here today. Thank you. And we move on to item 7, which is on page 8 to 11 of your agenda. And I will hand over to Zoe Footer. Thank you, Zoe.
Good morning, members. My name is Joe Green and I'm the Residential Property Surveyor. Hopefully you've all had the opportunity to read my report circulated with the agenda. I'd like to begin by reflecting on where the council stood just a few years ago in relation to temporary accommodation. At that time, the number of households placed in nightly paid accommodation had reached unsustainable levels, both financially and operationally. The quality of some of the accommodation we were forced to rely on fell well below acceptable standards, compounding the stress experienced by our most vulnerable residents. It also posed a reputational risk to the council as we struggled to meet expectations with limited and often inadequate options. Recognising the urgent need for change, the council took decisive action. Investing in our own accommodation emerged as the most sustainable and strategic solution, delivering better long-term value while enabling us to provide higher quality living standards, fully under our control. Over the following years, and continuing to the present day, this is exactly what we have done. The recent acquisition of residential properties has made a tangible difference. It has provided safe, stable homes for those in greatest need, significantly reduced our reliance on costly nightly paid accommodation, and allowed us to offer sanctuary to individuals and families fleeing war and persecution. To support this growing portfolio, the council approved a temporary residential property officer post in 2024. With 99 units across 69 properties, the demand for minor repairs and maintenance has increased, but it is the turnaround of void properties that has had the greatest impact. On average, 5 properties or units become void each week that require works before they can be reoccupied, making swift and efficient action essential to keep homes in circulation and available to those who need them most. The residential property officer has been instrumental not only in maintaining the portfolio, but especially in managing voids. Their efforts ensure that empty homes are brought back into use quickly, minimising downtime and enabling prompt placement of new residents. This role has also reduced our reliance on external contractors, lowered operational costs, and improved our overall responsiveness. The current post holder has consistently delivered exceptional work. They have developed a deep understanding of our housing stock, embedded themselves in our ways of working, and aligned closely with our mission. Their contribution has become integral to the team's effectiveness. However, the temporary nature of their contract is a growing concern. Without long-term stability, we risk losing a highly capable officer whose knowledge, experience, and commitment would be extremely difficult to replace. This has also empowered the residential property surveyor to uphold core landlord responsibilities, ensuring that all statutory requirements, including gas and electrical safety, smoke and carbon monoxide detection, energy performance, Legionella risk management, fire safety, and more are consistently met. And as a result, our homes remain safe, compliant, and well maintained. The Performer B circulated with the agenda confirms that the cost in making this post permanent is to be funded through the Housing Evolve project. This project has already delivered significant savings, and this role has been a key driver in achieving them. The Housing Department was set a savings target of £350,000 per year, and with the inclusion of this post, projections show that we are not only on track to meet that target, but likely to exceed it. So now we face a decision. Option 1, let the temporary post expire in 18 months' time. This risks leaving properties empty and unfit for use, forcing us to rely on expensive third-party accommodation. This could also jeopardise the Housing Evolve savings target, as the efficiencies and cost reductions achieved through the role, particularly in reducing void turnaround times and contractor spend, would be significantly undermined. Option 2, we make the residential property officer post permanent. This ensures timely maintenance, rapid turnaround of voids, and a full utilisation of our housing stock, providing safe shelter for those in urgent need. The officer recommendation is clear. A permanent role strengthens service delivery, supports housing demand, and delivers real financial benefits, from reduced contractor costs, improved occupancy rates, and a significant reduction in nightly paid accommodation. Let's invest in the future of our housing and property services and on the well-being of those who depend on it. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Joe. Before we go to questions, may I have a proposer from the members? Thank you. Thank you. And do I have a seconder for that proposal? Thank you, Taylor. You'd like the recommendation read out again or at the end? Okay. So I'll go to questions from the committee first, and then I'll go to the floor. Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairman. I think it's true to say that the initiative that this council has put in place to solve our homeless crisis is one of the exemplars that other people are following, and I think probably a permanent officer to do the job, I think, is probably a good thing, because it gives permanence to him, it gives permanence to the staff that work around him, it gives permanence to the people who contacts in terms of contractors and people to get in to work on those properties. I do have a couple of questions. On the pro forma B, you do have some indicated costs. That's obviously salary costs, and does that reflect everything that's in the costing in terms of on costs for that person? Are the on costs in that, is a pension contribution? Because I understand on a short-term contract, less than 2 years, there is no pension contribution towards that person, but once they become permanent, there is a pension contribution. So are all those costs rolled up in that particular figure on the pro forma B, please?
Thanks for the question. we understand the costs that are indicated on the pro forma B do include those on costs. You are absolutely right in terms of the post at the moment. They wouldn't be eligible for pension, to enter the pension, but should the post be made permanent, these are the costs that are indicated on the pro forma B, and they do include the salary plus on costs.
Yep.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, for indulging me. Could I just make a small recommendation to the officers that the pro forma B is updated, because it has a date of 1st of September on it, and the General Purpose Committee of 11th of September is also mentioned. And I know this didn't appear at that meeting, but it's obviously here now. So if that could be carried out for clarity, that would be good. Thank you.
That's right. Just for clarification, so at the meeting in September, this item was withdrawn and it's been represented today. So yes, if that could be updated, that will sit tight with the minutes then. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions from the floor? Any questions from other members? Gordon.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything. I do approve this as an elected member. I was just going to say, I remember when this programme started, I was being involved in the very beginning, and I'm really pleased with the way it's going, and long may it continue, and may your one staff become many in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. I have one question for you, Joe. If we didn't have this person doing this job and we had to have contractors in to clean the house or do the checks, as you said, what would be the difference in time and cost, roughly?
Thank you for the question. So we're seeing with other organisations such as Flagship Housing, their average turnaround time is around 3 weeks. We're having properties turn around in sometimes 1 or 2 days. So the cost saving is really made apparent when you compare having to put somebody in a nightly paid accommodation versus putting them in our own accommodation. That's where the real saving is.
Good. Thank you very much. If there are no further questions from the floor, we have Mark has proposed the recommendation. We have a seconder. May I have a show of hands? All in favour of the recommendation? Unanimous. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Thank you, team. Thank you for your work. So for the record, that recommendation has been approved. We now move on to item 8, fixed term to permanent contracts. Just to remind members that the report is above the line. Below the line, there are 2 items. One is a pro forma B. One is a list of not named, but of officer positions. So if there were any questions particular to those items, we would need to go below the line to discuss them. So let's try and keep the report above the line, but just as a warning to you all. So I'm going to turn to Councillor Alison Webb to present.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning, everybody. Okay, so the report before you requests authority to increase the establishment by 5 full-time equivalent posts. A recommendation to Council is also needed due to the level of funding required for this change. Although the report is in my name, the posts covered in the report are from right across the Council, and the relevant officers are therefore here to provide you with detail on the posts requested. I'll now pass over to Natalie, who will be able to help even further with the detail. Thank you.
Thank you. This report brings forward proposals to convert a further set of fixed-term contracts, as already identified, into permanent posts, increasing the Council's establishment by 5 FTE. This recommendation builds on decisions already approved by Cabinet and full Council earlier this year, which recognise the need to secure our critical skills, strengthen continuity of service delivery, and future-proof the organisation as we prepare for local government reorganisation by April 2028. Succession planning is obviously central to this. By moving key roles into a permanent footing, we're not only retaining experienced and knowledgeable staff, but also creating the stability needed for professional development, career pathways, and progression opportunities across the workforce. This stability supports staff to grow, take on new responsibilities, and build the capacity we will need in the emerging unitary environment. The posts included today are essential to maintaining our external facing services, particularly in the areas such as environmental health, environmental protection, enforcement and growth, where continuity, technical expertise and community presence are vital to meet both current and future demands. Importantly, the required budget changes have been identified from reserves, but that is obviously subject to full council approval, ensuring that the council can continue to prioritise delivery and manage increasing external pressures, such as changes in waste legislation. I have got some colleagues here today who are responsible for the service areas for these individual posts. So please do ask any questions that you feel that you want to, and I may refer to those individuals if needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. Do I have a seconder for the proposal from us, Councillor Norris? Thank you. Questions from the committee? Mark.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman. I think one of the important things in here, I believe two of these FTEs are going to be permanent street wardens in Thetford. Is that correct? Yes. It is. Can anybody let me know how successful that's been? Because I don't live in Thetford. I'm not anywhere near Thetford. I'm rather to the north of that. But I understand historically that this street warden service has reduced the antisocial behaviour in Thetford and could be rolled out to other market towns which are experiencing the same thing. And I just wonder, if there's been any approaches made to other town councils to do that, and how this model could roll forward. I'd like an update on that, please. Thank you.
Yes, certainly. So Safe Street Wardens, we have used them in other towns. So they are predominantly Thetford, but we have used them in Dereham. They've been out in Watton and also in Attleborough as well. So we have used them in other towns, and I think the plan is to increase rollout to other towns. As regards to success in Thetford, in general, that they're engaging about 100 engagements with residents and businesses a week. And when we did our last survey, 87% of visitors to the town centre said they saw the wardens at least once a week. 94% of the residents agreed or strongly agreed that they felt safer in the town since the introduction of Safer Street Wardens. 86% of businesses said their staff felt safer, and 56% of those businesses had seen a reduction in crime. There's quite a lot of testimonials there as well. So just as a, it's not, obviously that's not me saying that. As some of the responses to the survey, as a woman, I feel more confident walking in and around the town centre. I like how they always pop their head in and say hello. I think I was a business owner. It reassures all the staff that there's always help if needed. Very happy for them to be around. So I think in the last 6 months as well, just as a 6 months update from April to October this year, there's been 400 plus hours of high visibility foot patrols delivered across those towns. That's including sort of ASB hotspots, but that's including weekends, evenings. We also go out to events, so there's lots of events that we have a presence in there. 600 meaningful community interactions, which is particularly around youth engagement and vulnerable individuals. So those roles don't just focus on, antisocial behaviour. They will deal with vulnerable people. They've dealt with the medical emergencies. There's rough sleepers and as well that they will engage and they will signpost to as well. And they also deal with some environmental issues as well. So there's things like littering, abandoned vehicles, all those sorts of things. So hopefully that's just a general sort of update. There's lots of examples here that I could give, but as well, they will also confiscate whether there is a public spaces protection order. They will give sort of warnings, but they will confiscate drinks as well from street drinkers as well. And I think we're also seeing now with an engagement that the street drinkers are moving away to other areas. So they've got some interaction with the safer street wardens, but they are moving away, so they're not causing those antisocial behaviour issues, and they're not causing nuisance in the public areas. They are moving away to other areas.
I think that's very impressive, and it would be nice if all the other market towns that do have that problem would take on 2 permanent street wardens rather than have them visit occasionally. And I think I'd like to see those 2 people in a permanent position to actually carry out that job ad infinitum and probably through into whatever's coming with LGR. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Can I just check with one of the officers that other towns have been asked if they would like street wardens?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, the other towns have all been approached to see if they'd like to follow suit with Thetford and benefit from safer street wardens. Sadly, I think the reception hasn't been as positive as it has been in Thetford, but we'll continue to make that offer as Mark's described, because we think this is the right way to work, and we think the safer street wardens have a positive impact on some of the challenges our market towns are facing. Unfortunately, the other town councils don't feel as able as Thetford to move forward with this agenda to support us.
Thank you. Any other questions from the committee? No? Oh, Mark?
Yes, Madam Chairman, I think we've got a plethora of officers here, and having had an update on street wardens, it might be for the committee's benefit to listen to what the other full-time employees, our future full-time employees, will be doing in terms of the work they will be carrying out within the departments that they represent.
Absolutely.
Just be careful about below the line.
Yes, just remind folk about the below the line.
Yeah, Chairman, if we
objectives.
talk about specific posts that are occupied by particular people at the moment, we'd need to do that below the line. I need to check with colleagues which post that relates to specifically, because it's not all of them, I don't think. The safest way to deal with it, Chairman, would be to go below the line, so that we could talk candidly about the posts and their success.
That's absolutely fine. So, under section 100, bracket A, bracket 4 of the Local Government Act 1972, the press and public be excluded from the meeting for the following item of business on the grounds that it involves the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in paragraphs 1 and 2 of Schedule 12A to the Act. Nobody's to go. Yes. Do the committee agree to that? Show of hands. Thank you very much.
Can I just add that if I stop YouTube, I've got to set it up again, and it's not quick to set up YouTube again. So we can talk, but without the microphone.
Okay.
Not unless I.
So I suppose the issue is so we're not below the line at the moment. The recording's still going.
No, because YouTube's still running.
So
Legal advice here.
So I suppose the issue is that actually the decision needs to be above the line.
Yeah.
So we need to come back in to session. So what you're suggesting is if we don't use microphones, it won't be picked up.
I mean, obviously you'll be on you'll be on camera.
Or we can just not come back above the line,
Yeah,
if
or
that might be easier.
Chairman, if I may, the only item after this on the agenda is date of the next meeting. So I would suggest that there's no requirement as in law to be streaming a meeting. It's desirable, clearly. I think it's more appropriate that we use microphones for accessibility reasons, amongst other things.
Yep.
So I would suggest we stop the stream and don't revert back to the stream. The only bit that the public would be missing is the decision which they can pick up in the minutes of the meeting when they're shared.
Right, so what I'm going to do just before we stop streaming is to note the arrangements for the next meeting on Wednesday the 15th of January at 10 o'clock here in the Anglia room.